Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's a nice day. We're getting one last nice day outside, right? Awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, I appreciate you taking the time today. I'll go ahead and get started. Obviously, we're rounding out the regular season here, which is a little bit crazy to say, but how does it feel to, have made it through one of the strangest seasons? It'll probably go down as one of the strangest seasons that you've ever had. How does it feel to finally get through it?
Definitely will be one of the strangest ones. And it's really just a blessing to be able to make it through the season, for my boys to be able to have a sense of normalcy, the motivation for them to continue academically, the motivation to make sure that they're getting their grades continued and grades are progressing. So all of those things, had we not had this season, I don't know how that would have looked. So as IPRs, trying to get things up is really on my mind right now. So just fortunate, just glad that we were able to have a season. Glad that we were able to get some normal things going. Glad our boys were able to put on pads and play against some people.
What do you feel like you learned about your team, learned about yourself as a coach this season? I feel like this season really has been a time of reflection for a lot of coaches. What do you feel like you've learned personally?
Just myself, my staff, just how resourceful we have to be and how resourceful we can be. When you talk about, in June when we started with the different stable groups and how many kids we could have practicing and what we had to do in order to make a lift happen, and then what we had to do to make practice happen. Not only that, but just how resilient our kids are. That throughout all the things that are going on, they're still showing up for practice. They're still excited. They still want to be here. They're still, ready to go. And so just one, how resilient my kids are, my families, the parents of those kids, and how supportive they are, and then just how resourceful as a staff we've had to become.
Mhm. Obviously the season's not quite over yet. So what do you think, you need to do to get back in the win column this week? I'd say you guys had a few tough, rivalries in a row. You had Jefferson City, you had Rockbridge, those are some tough matchups. What do you think you need to do this week to get back in that win column?
Mentally, emotionally, we need to be focused. We need to be present. We need to be in the moment. Um, Physically, I don't think that we have been outmatched against any of our opponents. Maybe Ray Peck; those are some really big dudes. But honestly, it's just mentally being engaged, being sidelined, the guys playing, all of us just being in the moment, being present, focused on what we need to do, and that's what it comes down to. If we can do that, then we can play really well ball game.
Every week when I talk to you, we talk about the defense, and you say it really comes down to the fundamentals. Is that still what you feel it comes down to with this defense? Obviously, let a lot of points go these past couple of weeks. So I'm curious, what you think if it's still the fundamentals, and if it is, how do you work to implement that and work to improve on that?
A lot of it comes down to choice. To be honest with you. One goal that we have as a defense each week is to have less than 10 missed tackles. We have not achieved that goal, not once. We tackle every day. We do a plethora of tackling drills, but a lot of it comes down to just what I referred to earlier, mentally being in the moment, being present, and choosing to do your job every time, not being distracted, not, I don't know, hesitating, so to speak. So that's what it really comes down to, is just mentally us choosing to do our job every play.
Obviously your offense has had some really bright moments this year. And when you look at Jackson's offense has definitely had some bright moments as well. They put up nearly 50 points just about every single game, it seems like. What do you
Hey,
see
they
from
have
Jackson ahead of time? What does it look like so far for you?
the struggle and the issue that Jackson presents is that at all points of the game they are trying to score. Their special teams are directed to put points on the board. Of course, offensively, 58 points a game and doing a phenomenal job of doing that. Defensively, they cause turnovers, they score on turnovers, and so you look at the games, you watch the people that they play, and really what all of their opponents fall victim to is that as soon as they get up by a certain amount of points, their opponents become pressed and start to play outside their means because you feel as though you have to. If you look back, our earlier games, week 1, week 2, we lose to Elias, we lose to Francis Howell by considerable margins. And offensively, I did the exact same thing as a play caller. I started to press, wanted to go deep, which ended up causing more turnovers and spiraling things and making the score get even worse than what it was. And so that's one thing that we have to keep in mind when we go against Jackson, is that their offense, their team is set up to put pressure on you and to get you to make mistakes and to think outside of your means. And so for us, it's what do we do well? What do we need to focus on? And how can we control the game as much as we can?
And, when you look at a team like Jackson where they're putting up so many points, and that's going to be tough for, a lot of defenses to handle. When you look at your offense, is it a thing where you look at them to maybe put a little even more effort? Obviously, they put a lot of effort in every game, but, is it something where you're looking for more from them, or is it really looking to your defense and saying, hey, we need to do this thing?
No, it definitely comes down to the offense. Unfortunately, and I've told my boys that we are not in a position that we can make a lot of mistakes. Our margin for error is extremely small. And so as an offensive unit, when we turn the ball over, when we can't capitalize on third downs, those errors, those losses end up putting our defense in a bad position. And if you look back last week, the first half, our fumbles, our miscues on the offensive side did not impact our defense. They were able to handle it, and they played lights out. However, second half, they're tired, they're exhausted, mentally they're drained. So those mistakes in the first half really become apparent in the second half. And so as an offense, it's just us understanding that we don't have that large a margin for error. If we turn the football over, if we do things negatively, then we're going to get behind. And then what do we do to get out of it? How can we generate momentum? And so it's just an understanding that, one, we have to focus on doing our job every play, and two, we have to execute.
Going back to, this being the final game of the regular season, you have your group of seniors. Obviously I spoke with Devin earlier this year. What do you tell the group of seniors, going into the postseason here, but rounding out a season like this? What's your message to these seniors after everything they've been through this year?
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. Still kind of putting my thoughts together on it, but when I know, I'll let you know.
Awesome. Appreciate your time. Good luck this week, and hopefully we can get into the postseason and get things going, right?
Jason,
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too.